Hello, everyone, and welcome to our daily magic. Today is podcast number, wow, I know we're getting up there. We're episode number 8 of the new season. We've got some really amazing and special people and things to talk about today. But first, my name is Kai, and this is.
I am the male version of Kai, Dell.
And we are your co-hosts for today's podcast. Yes.
Yeah. And before before you get into it, I definitely want to send a hello to our community out there in all the different ways on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, on iTunes download. We appreciate each and every one of you. And feel free to submit your comments, thoughts throughout this podcast so that way we can be able to potentially answer some questions you may have, or even as a powerful insight. We love to hear the responses because it's definitely about to be a powerful episode.
Okay. So I was just going to say that we're here to talk about rituals that we use to cultivate magic in our daily lives, and also talk about the ways that we are being the magic that we wish to see in the world. So we are going to get this episode started right, and then we're going to introduce our special guest.
Always a fun or the intro. So I am always excited to introduce this lovely being. This person personally, I have known him since kindergarten, in which we were just playing around in the playground, little kids having fun, being in nature. And who would have known in that moment that we'll be here in the future? Can you imagine just going back to those little kids and say, like, hey guys, in about 30 or so odd years from right now, we're going to be sharing a co-created beautiful space to really uplift humanity. So with that being said, I'm going to give a little bit of an intro and then going to allow my friend, brother, comrade, coach to be able to introduce himself as well. So for those of you who don't know, his name, and it's already up there, is G Sainato. And who he is a board certified and NYU certified professional coach. His clients include global leaders, doctors, lawyers, executive, life coaches, spiritual coaches, teachers, students, and more. Stephen has been featured presenter for organizations such as the New Jersey State Bar Association and the Association for Legal Administrators. Stephen has also been featured as a writer for organizations such as CNBC and the National Coaching Academy. Steve is the owner and founder of Extraordinary Coaching and Leadership, and also an amazing group named Grace Meetings. He grew up in Morristown, New Jersey. After tap dancing professionally throughout his 20s, he hung up his tap shoes to pursue the practice of law. Stephen attended Rutgers Law School, where he graduated first in his class. After practicing in the merger and acquisitions and real property groups at Shearman Sterling LLP, Steve decided to transition into professional coaching. Steve is most grateful for his relationship to the higher power of his understanding and for overcoming depression, addiction, and crippling fear. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you guys formally to Steve.
You need some like sound effects.
Yeah, right? Brother, like always, it's always a pleasure to hold this infinite space with you, to just have this conversation, and also to just help serve not only ourselves and help serve others. And this space does allow you to showcase your magic. It's so profound. It's just an honor to have you be a guest on our show.
Thank you so much. Honored by your words, honored by your acknowledgments, honored to co-create a space that's centered around making a difference for people. I love that. I come from a place of service and love. And like I say, we are cut from the same cosmic cloth. So it's an honor over here as well.
Amazing. Amazing. So I know I gave like the big introduction, the information from there, but we love to slow things down to really get more into it. And we'll love for you. I know we shared this whole stuff of who you are, but the real question is, who are you? And tell them about your magic. What is your magic?
My magic. It's a large question, and I think it will be best shared through a story, through my story of part of my life, some of the ups and downs and all around. So part of my magic as a kid was tap dancing. I loved to tap dance. My mom had a dance studio in my home, and at about 8 years old, I got to take a lesson by Savion Glover, and I thought it was like the coolest. And if you don't know who Savion Glover is, he's arguably the best dancer to ever live. Check him out on YouTube. Amazing, just phenomenal. And after I got to take a lesson from him and see what music he could create with his body, with his tap shoes, I was totally in love with the dance. So, and I was pretty good at it. And I would also say I was thinking about, I spent some time in meditation and creating my state of being, and in prayer, and in some thought about our co-creation today. And dancing actually came up, and it helped me see from a very young age, part of this magic I've developed in life is the ability to cultivate a courage that's more powerful than my fears. And I've noticed that when we can do that, we can be who we'd love to be and create what we'd love to create in life. And it's not easy. It really is not easy. I'm really not quite clear on what propelled me into the performances that I did. I can remember I was in maybe like 15, 16 years old. I went out to Los Angeles to perform in front of 2,000 people by myself. And I'm on the side of the stage, freaking out, like total panic, thinking like I might be medvac out of this place soon. And I just went for it. I had enough courage to just get up on the stage and start moving. And there was a moment, so the stage was set up like a runway, because there was also modeling stuff happening. So it was a stage / runway. And I busted out the Usher moonwalk down the runway, and the sound of 2,000 people erupted. And it was one of the greatest moments in my life. I can still feel the rush of it. And at that moment, I was just unleashed. I was free. I could dance. I could have fun. And I was so grateful that I did it afterward. The fruits of overcoming our fears to express ourselves in a way that's true to us in the world is one of the greatest gifts. So I could see that part of my magic began to develop as a kid, cultivating courage more powerful than my fear. As I grew up, as most of us do, life happened, and I began to experience emotions that I would have preferred not to feel. And like shame, like insecurity, like hurt, like disappointment. And I didn't really know what to do with that. I think I just didn't really feel safe enough to share what was really going on with anyone. And it's relevant to discuss the culture we grow up in, especially as a guy. There's this culture which promotes like man up, like suck it up, don't be a you know what. There's a whole documentary called The Mask You Live In, which speaks to this really powerfully. And so that's what I did. I hit it all. It manifested itself in certain mischief as I was a kid, which is funny. I presented this image of a really good good kid, you know, got good grades. I was nice. I was kind. I would sit there like this. I would do my homework. And then outside of class, I'd be with friends, like smashing windows and wreaking havoc in other communities as like a rush, as an escape, so to speak. And that eventually manifested into drinking and drugs. And it got so bad at one point, I remember experiencing a combination of just really painful emotions. And maybe anyone listening or you guys can relate to this, and having no idea what to do, who to share it with, and not just at a complete loss. And this feeling of like, get it off me, like immediately. How do I get this off me immediately? And so I resorted to numbing, and I numbed it with vodka. And in my mind, that was a solution, which perpetuated and grew stronger and stronger over time. And I eventually created my own hell. And at the time, I didn't know, but I was depressed, and I felt lonely, and I just didn't care really that much. I wanted to check out, and I would take so many drugs some nights. And this feels vulnerable to share publicly like this. That I knew there was a likelihood I might not wake up, and I didn't even care. Like I didn't care. I didn't care what anyone thought. It was like unbelievably painful and self-centered, and a lot there. Fortunately, I had a spiritual experience at this guy's home. A bunch of us were waiting for a big shipment to come in, and it was opiates. And if you know about opiates, you can't really just stop. You get really sick. And so a lot of people are freaking out because there's a chance this shipment might not come in, and we're all going to get like really sick. And in that moment, I can actually see myself from a higher perspective. And I saw me, and I was like, what? Just at a total loss. Like, how did you go from this kid who loved to dance and was full of life to this, surrounded by people like this? I'm like, this isn't adding up. This isn't who I'm meant to be. I gotta get out. I just felt this complete urgent desire to get out. And so I got my money, left, went through a grueling withdrawal, still very afraid to let people in on what was going on. So I pretended like I had the flu. Went through that withdrawal, and I actually still wasn't clear that I had a drinking problem. I thought, maybe it's just the drugs. Even after having gotten into a car accident when I was 17, flying through a car window on the parkway, even after curing my hangovers with shots, even after playing this game where we would see if we can drink 3 beers in 10 minutes, and just absurdities that alluded to a problem. It didn't cross my mind like I had a problem. So I kept drinking, and I kept chasing that same feeling that I felt with the drugs. And it was like this, it filled that void in there. It made me feel like I was going to be okay. It made me feel good. All those insecurities, all those fears weren't so pervasive and prevalent. And that, as you can imagine, only goes a few places. And for me, it went to a really nasty car accident where I wrecked my car while blacked out. And that was actually one of the best nights of my life, because it gave me what they call in the rooms of recovery, the gift of desperation. And I was in enough pain where I could say, I need some help. And fortunately, I have an amazing brother who had a conversation with me that morning, and it was a conversation that forever altered my life. And he said, you got to stop. And you have an opportunity right now to make this the best thing that ever happened to you. And he also told me, I don't know what words he used, but I felt his belief in me. And it was like a weight off me, because in that moment I decided, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to get help, which is really hard to do. And I'm just looking back. There's a book, a children's book I have called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And in it, there's a page that says, I forget who's speaking to who, but it says something, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? And on the bottom it says help, ask for help. And it's, I think, the horse speaking. Anyways, it's really powerful because it's really true. Asking for help is not weakness, it's boldness, and it's bravery, and it's not giving up, it's a refusal to give up. It's honoring your life. It's committing to you, to your life. And for me at that time, it was to my recovery. And so another part of my magic is I can ask for help when I need it. And that's not easy, especially someone who had been a perfectionist for so long. I really wanted everyone to see me as perfect and like nothing was wrong and everything was great. And as Brene Brown says, perfectionism is I think she says a shame shield, because when we're perfect, there's no room for blame, shame, judgment, or criticism. And it was a massive breakthrough to ask for help, and I got it. I started going to a 12-step program. I started to work on myself. Another piece of my magic is I understand the value of working on ourselves. It's really clear to me that one of the greatest contributions we can give to humanity is working on ourselves. It not only affects my life, it affects everyone in my world, and there's a real ripple effect that makes an extraordinary difference. So I began to, thank you, receiving that. I began to work on myself. I began to learn about who I had been, and started to go through a program of action that also wasn't easy and required courage and willingness and a capacity to be honest. And that was also the beginning of a relationship with the higher power of my understanding. Like we were talking about recently, Dell, when I say God or that higher power, it's the God of my understanding, and I honor and I respect all belief systems. So that's what that word means for me. I have my own views and beliefs, and I'm clear that others have theirs too, and I respect that. So the first week of recovery was really challenging, and it was a Friday night, December 16, 2011, and it happened. You know, that thought, like a joint or a drink or gotta go out, and it's like the turbulence, the compulsion to just go and do that was so strong. And all I could remember was hit your knees and ask for help. So I hit my knees, I might cry, and I said, God, please help me. I don't want to live like this anymore. And just like a whole wave of peace came through my field of awareness. And it was like nothing I'd ever experienced. And it was bizarre too. I remember like laughing. It was very strange. I could like sort of see myself again from a higher view. And I knew I was going to be okay. And I knew I was never alone. That was really the beginning of an extraordinary relationship with the higher power of my understanding, which I've developed and grown more and more ever since then. This is 2011. After I got some time under my belt, one of my dreams to become a lawyer resurfaced. And I went for it. I was in and out of court. It's kind of funny. I like to tell this part because I think it's entertaining. I'm a defendant going in and out of court for the car accident and the other stuff. And then I decide I'm going to apply to the law school, to take the law school admission test with the plan of ultimately becoming a lawyer. I was inspired by my lawyer. Amazing how life works and how things can be so divinely orchestrated. So I study for some time, I take the test, I do okay, and I apply to Rutgers, which is where I wanted to go. It was about 30 minutes from Morristown, give or take a few, and the tuition's great. It's a good school, great connections. And they put me on a wait list, and then they rejected me. And that hurt, and I was like, okay, I guess not going to law school. At that time, I was still dancing. I was a personal trainer, kept doing that. The following year, someone encouraged me to apply again. So I applied again, and to my surprise, I got accepted. And they gave me a little bit of a scholarship, Rutgers. So I didn't understand it. But I was really happy about it. Really happy, really proud of myself, and also really terrified. So I talked about it with people. I asked for help. And I remember I was talking with my friend Kenny, and he said, hey, do you think God had anything to do with this? I said, well, he said, well, I have been praying to get in. And he said, well, there you go. And I said, okay. And a few other conversations led me to ultimately going in, signing up. And I'm just taking a moment to get centered because there's so much I can share about here. So I'm just going to fast forward to when I started. So I started, and it was me showing up in an entirely new way. I was in it. I was committed. And yet I still had a lot of limiting thoughts. And I still viewed myself as like not really a great student. Reading and writing wasn't really my thing academically. And then I heard a really powerful and inspiring speech by a judge who I know I've shared this with you both before. And he just lit something up underneath me. And I remember going home that day and feeling so enlivened, so inspired, so empowered to go fully all in. And for the first time in my life, put myself out there and declare that I'm going to go all in. And no matter the result, if I could look back and say I didn't leave anything on the table, I honored my commitment, I was okay with that. And that's how I continued to show up. And another part of my magic is the structures I've created to support my being in the world. And part of those structures include a morning routine. At that time, I listened, I infused my mind with inspirational talks. Les Brown was one of my favorites at the time. Eric Thomas, he really resonated with me at the time. He could just speak fire into you, and it just inflamed the spark that had already been ignited within me. And so I kept that up consistently, and I showed up every day for 3 years, putting in the work, studying harder than I've ever studied. Put my hand up in class, going for it, getting the answers right, getting the answers wrong, feeling dumb, feeling smart, going through it all, and continuing to show up. And I graduated first in my class, and that was an absolute miracle. I cried after that graduation. I couldn't believe it. It's still hard actually to believe. And to me, that's my God, the God of my understanding, working miracles and magic in my life. I've learned that when I do my best, one day at a time, to do the next best thing, that God takes care of the rest. The universe, the infinite creator, source, whichever name you prefer. After then, I went into practice at a really great firm in New York City. And it was exciting when it was new, and got to do some really big deals and learned a lot, though something was missing for me. Something was like profoundly missing for me. And I didn't want to admit it. I wanted everything to be perfect. To me, it was like, this is it. I made it. This is what success is. Life's going to be just a dream from here on out. So to get there and be like, nope, this isn't actually it, was not a pleasant realization at the moment. And again, I went to a pretty emotionally low place. And again, I got support from really wonderful people in my life, and did some soul searching, created something I called the zone of fulfillment, and learned eventually what coaching was. And it just made sense. I love to make a difference in people's lives. I love to be with them through everything and anything. My friend, who's going through a really challenging time, one of his family members has been hospitalized and it's not looking great. He called me and he said, I didn't know who else to call. I love that. I love being that source of support. I'm really touched and moved by that. And it's funny too. Today is my friend's birthday, Marky McFly, Back to the Future fan, and he actually sent me a text that when it really clicked. He sent me a text one day out of nowhere, out of the blue, and he says, "I just want you to know you're one of the most blessed persons in my life. I'll never forget that car ride." And the details of the car ride I won't share, but that message just hit me right in my heart and moved me to tears. And I knew then, this is it. This is what I got to do. I don't know what that is, but there's this thing, coaching, I heard, so I'm going to follow it. And I cultivated the courage, again, to overcome my fears of reinventing my life, reinventing my career, jumping into a whole world of uncertainty, economic insecurity, all of it. And went all in again on coaching. Got certified, did the whole thing, got coached, invested heavily in myself, hired a coach. I also made a ton of mistakes and decisions that did not serve me. And now I feel so blessed and so grateful that I actually did it, that I went for it, that I had the courage to do it, that I asked for help when I needed it. And because I've spent so much time learning and loving and living and studying, I had this magic of studying. I study psychology. I study positive psychology more specifically. I study spirituality, different religions. I study ontology, the nature of being, and I get to combine it all with my life and everything, all of the gifts and abilities that I've been given and I've created, and use them to serve others. So to answer your question with a lot of words, that's part of my magic.
Thank you. Thank you. And you're clearly touching the people that are here, including myself. And, if you have any additional words to share, there's someone here who's in that place now. That place of when you get to where it is that you thought you wanted to be, and you realize that it's not what you actually want. What do you have to say to that person who is here listening to you, who's on that journey? And thank you to the person who shared.
Thank you for the question, and thank you to everyone who has been commenting. It's empowering me. So the way I'm hearing that question is like, what would I say to me, the younger me? And I would say that it's okay. It's going to be okay to just keep doing your best to do the next best thing. That you can't see it now, perhaps, but you will be able to see it later on down the line, how this is all working in your favor, so you can be and live true to who you really are. And from personal experience, I learned a lot more about coaching through law school and through being a lawyer than I did through any coaching program, through 12 steps. And it's really profound to remember that sometimes what seems like the worst possible thing to happen can actually be one of the greatest blessings in disguise. Like when I crashed my car. And another story that's wild and entertaining is after my first year of law school, in the very same day, the dean tells me I've got the highest GPA in my class. I'm sky high, feeling on top of the world. I get home and I receive a letter, 2 letters actually, from the Motor Vehicle Commission, informing me my license is due to be suspended indefinitely for violating a number of criminal statutes. Crushing. And I thought, that's it. That's a wrap. There's no way I can become a lawyer now. It's over. And I was like, from up to down, I thought it was the worst possible thing that could happen to me. I went to a 12-step meeting that night, and I did what I had learned to do, and I shared what was going on, and I asked for help. Someone after the meeting comes up to me and suggests I reach out to this organization, this incredible organization called the New Jersey Lawyers Assistance Program. They help law students, they help lawyers, they help judges with addiction, with recovery, with mental health, with a number of things. They're amazing. I reach out to them and I connect with a woman named Nancy, who I connected with right away. I love her so much. She has been such a positive influence in my life. And I told her, like, I'm forever in her debt. Whatever she needs me to do, I'm in. We connect. She ends up writing this beautiful letter of recommendation and vouches for me in my bar application. through the bar admission process, we meet with what's called the Character and Fitness Committee. Nancy vouches for me, and another woman who Nancy connected me with. The Character and Fitness Committee representative tells me, after grilling me about all the stuff I had gotten in trouble for, he says, you know what, I'm gonna approve your application for admission because they vouch for you. And it gives me chills just to think about. At that time, it seemed like the worst possible thing. It turned out to be one of the greatest blessings. And by the way, that licensing was just one of many tarnishes on my record. So I would say it's going to be okay. God's doing his thing, and stay in faith, ask for support, and stay committed to you.
It's a lot to take in. And thank you for your bravery and sharing.
You bet. You bet. Yes, vulnerability is a word we mentioned before coming into the space. Is really something to embrace. We're having a grace meeting about it in a couple weeks. And embracing vulnerability can really be a strength and can lead to a life of bliss and fulfillment and connection and community and support and love and all the things we really want.
And what's a grace meeting?
Okay. How we doing on time? Let's see. So grace. Oh man, there's a story behind this too. I'll make this one a bit more concise. So grace meetings, in short, are a space that we're actually creating together, where speakers come in and they share themselves vulnerably and honestly and bravely about how they've overcome some of life's most difficult and relatable challenges, like addiction, like loss. A lot of people are losing loved ones, especially now. Like facing fear, like overcoming depression, like all of these things that we all deal with to one degree or another. Now there's a space that we're opening up where people can hear real stories live and be with people as they share themselves about how they did it. And you get to hear solution, you get to hear possibility, you get to hear insight, and you get to hear hope. One of our first meetings, someone shared so bravely about how they almost checked out. And the group was so great. The group was so great. And you could see this person get filled up with life and hope. So that's what it's about. And to complete what the framework looks like, it's an hour meeting. It's free. It's a virtual space. Speakers share themselves, and then it opens up, and we get to share. We get to share anything we've discovered for ourselves through our listening. We get to contribute our personal experiences and anything else really that's on our heart that you just want to share in a safe, loving, and empowering space. And so far, it's been awesome. We've had 4 meetings so far, and if you want to join us, the website is www.gracemeetings.as.me. I can't see who just commented that, but thank you.
Neither can we.
Yeah.
But we appreciate them, whoever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sign up in the StreamYard, so whoever that is. Then we can see who they are.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what Grace Meetings is. Thank you for asking me and allowing me to share that here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially right now, in the external reality, there's just so many spaces in which people are judged and shamed for being vulnerable and not being accepted for exactly where they're at right now, what they're going through. And sometimes either or sometimes also it's just an internal judgment. And like you mentioned before in your journey, the internal hell that we put ourselves through with the pain of like what's going on with life and find external ways to not deal with it. So a place like Grace Meeting, like a space like that, is a very rare space that's actually out there. And definitely, totally, it's just amazing. And I definitely recommend it for anybody who may have feel like, oh, this is the only thing that I'm the only person that's going through it. Because when we're going through a lot of stuff, we think that we're alone with what's happening. And a space like Grace Meaning not only is like non-judgmental, is unconditional loving, but you get to see like, oh, wait, I'm not the only one going through this. Oh, wait, there's somebody who went through it and got through it. And like you said, that space of hope. And that's all like a lot of us need for what we're dealing with, the depression or whatever situation it may be right now. Just to see that one person who could give you that little hope of a possibility that you can get through this. You can get through this. And there's somebody who's vulnerable and talking about it in a way. So for those of you out there who's listening, if you ever been looking for a space like that, or even like if you haven't been, you internally have been because you're hearing it right now synchronistically, I highly recommend just one meeting. Take one meeting in the Grace Meeting, one time to go in there. And I guarantee you, one little shift, just going with an open mind, it'll change your life. Because, yeah, every single meeting so far, it changes my life in a deeper way. And it's just profound. And it's such an honor, like always, to like just share that moment with you, share those moments.
God, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. What a blessing. And yeah, and you're gonna be sharing with us.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's a topic that it's gonna make a difference for all of us. So I just thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I would invite anyone to that meeting. I can't recall the date right now off the top of my head.
It's the 18th next week Sunday.
Next Sunday. Okay, yeah. There's Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, that's going to be a very good topic because that week is going to be on overcoming grief. And I'm going to be sharing my story of how I was able to work through the grief that I just recently had with the death of my father. So it's going to be a very impactful. I'm feeling it. That's a very impactful moment.
I can feel that too, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much.
I'd love to hear more about what this gift of desperation has given you access to. You know, like, who do you get to be now? You've talked about, you get to ask for help. You get to be supported. You get to be bold. I'd love to hear more about the Stephen who is here before us.
Yeah, awesome. Your questions are phenomenal. The gift of desperation. So if you haven't noticed, it's an acronym for GOD, which is pretty cool. And yes, Alicia, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for that. Yes, and she is amazing and helps co-create the amazing space. The gift of desperation showed me that it's okay to ask for support. It showed me that it's not a weakness, it's a strength. It does take courage. And the more I grow in my courage, the more I grow in my capacity to create the life I want. It really extends outwardly into every aspect of my life. And I really get the value now of support and coaching specifically. Like my coaches have grown me as a person, as a professional, as a husband, as a cat dad. They have helped me in infinite ways. It's invaluable. So that gift of desperation, seeing it now, connecting it now, right now, because of your question, has sparked an insight where I can have access to support so I can live to the fullest expression of myself. And I don't think I could do that alone. and it's actually really fulfilling and fun to do it like together with others, with more than one. And there's something I shared in our Grace Meetings Facebook group yesterday that I've learned. It's actually in this book that I'm rereading right now called Flourish by Martin Seligman. He's a psychologist, professor at UPenn, brilliant guy, pioneered positive psychology. And in this book, he does a lot of research, and he finds that when you have one person in your life with whom you feel completely safe to be honest, you actually live a longer, healthier, and happier life, which is really nice to know as a coach too. And even like in a space like this, I feel safe. That makes a difference. You're adding years to my life, so thank you.
Clearly, you're adding years to your life. We're seeing how much younger you look every time you appear on screen.
Yes, I cannot wait to tell Kylie you said that.
Yeah. And for those who's listening, we were talking before we started the episode, and this is the first time I've seen Steven like for face to face. Well, we saw face to face in Grace Meeting, but this is like the first interaction we were like really having like a conversation, and just taking in his energy right now leading up to, I'm like, did you get younger for some reason? So for those of you out there who are looking for the way to get younger, reach out to him. He has some formula going on right now.
Yeah, I'll do my best to share how I did that. That's magic. Yeah, but it's funny too, because I've been telling, I know the power of our words and how we can create with our words. And some sources say the Aramaic, I think, translation of abracadabra is we create as we speak, which is so apropos given we're on our daily magic. And so I've been wielding my word to grow younger, and I've been telling my wife that I'm going to grow younger. I'm going to grow younger. She's like, you are like completely nuts. I think you've lost it. So to hear you say that, I can't wait. I can't wait to tell her.
One of the things that I've been in conversation about with some of the people that I've been working with is, just asking around, what is your goal? But the question has recently gotten a spin on it. And I'm curious if you have one of these, and it's totally cool, whatever your answer is. But do you have a service goal? Like, what impact are you looking to have on the world? And maybe what would the world look like with you fulfilled in your purpose?
Powerful question. Powerful question, yeah. Woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh. Thinking about all the things I would love for our world. Well, so the genesis of Grace Meetings occurred over a series of events. One of those events was, so from time to time, I love to do one-on-one breathwork sessions for my clients, and I create a playlist to breathe. It's really powerful if you've ever done breathwork, like holotropic. And I was listening to music, new music, and I came across this song called Wishing Well by Juice WRLD. I had never heard of Juice WRLD until that day. And if you've heard it before, or if you haven't heard it before, he's rapping about what's really going on. He's depressed. He was on pills. He can't stop. And it just broke my heart. And I wanted to contact him as fast as I could. And I tried to, and I looked on Instagram, and I see a bunch of RIP posts. And I knew from the second I saw Rest in Peace that he had overdosed. And I got really present to how many people are suffering without a way out, without knowing the way out. So my mission is to be a stand for those people, is to be a stand for all of us, for our well-being, for our growth, for our healing, and for our prosperity, for our flourishment. So me fulfilling what I know is possible for my life would look like a humanity that's well and healed and happy and transformed.
That's
Like goal.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome question, Kaib. Holy moly. Thank you for getting me present to that.
You're welcome. And I mean, we're here on Our Daily Magic, so it is.
And so it is. Abracadabra. Yeah, I love being in this space with you guys.
Likewise. And it makes me wonder, too, what it must be like, or what it must have been like, for you and Dell to reconnect after so many years.
Oh my gosh. Like,
what happened?
it was awesome and completely new. Yeah, I get you. I hear you. I feel you. Oh, I'm so sorry. My FaceTime must have went off. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
yep.
We got it.
Okay. What was the question?
You and Dell's reconnection. What did that
Oh, yeah, Dell. Oh my gosh. So, man, he has pictures of like he sent me from like being in like kindergarten, first grade, playing outside, and just thinking about some of our memories then, and like who I knew you to be then, and then reconnecting later, where it's like a completely transformed person. Like our voices have clearly, obviously changed since then. Who we be has clearly evolved, and so it was familiar yet very like new and different. And we got to talking, and there was just this generation of like excitement because we got to realize we're so similar, and we've gone through so much of the same things, and we've come to the same realizations about life and what matters and what's important and who we are and what we love and how we'd love to show up in the world and who we'd love to serve. And we've co-created some magic. We have co-created some magic together, including this dialogue right now.
Yeah. And that was another thing that we talked about for the episode, when it was like, here's Magic going back to those kids, like when we were those kids in the playground, just playing, having fun, free with the world and free with life, and just being who we were. And saying 30 something years from right now, we're going to be in this space and this highly evolved and co-creating this amazing space. It's funny when you talk about we were talking about the kids thing, and what you talk about just now. I remember now, like when I had the chicken pox and we had the show and tell week, and you tap dance and you jumped on my desk and you dancing on my desk, tap dancing, and then you told me about, I missed that. Like, come on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was free. I was so free to be then. And now too. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know how the teachers allowed that, but I was definitely dancing on some desks and destroying the desk. Because tap shoes aren't, it's like metal. You can really cause some damage. Oh my God, that's so funny. I love that story. Yeah. So if I could put it in one word, I'd say awesome to reconnect.
And what was the span of time between your communication?
Since when we reconnected compared to the last time?
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh, it's been a while. I mean, like we like converse here and there. I would say like in high school and stuff, but like the connection like now is like way more deeper than when it ever was. But we had this friendship since we were little kids. But of course, for all of us, we had to go on our own journey, our own discovery, and now we came into this point right now, and now this friendship that we have is just like on this infinite level of like, yeah, we like hear each other, we understand each other, but then when he shared his story and I shared my story, like, holy shit, like we went through like similar stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're on like a cosmic level of friendship now.
Yeah.
The span of time must have been at least 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So long time.
Yeah. This shows you what happens, like people in our lives. And as we start to do our work, some people, they go away and they brush off. But then what happens eventually for a lot of the people is we reconvene and we reconnect with each other on this higher level. But like what's happened from here, like with our relationship with Steve and I, that we came together, we shared our journey, but like we both have this same soul mission of serving in our unique way. And like we just know in our heart that we were meant to just come back together for this mission, this beautiful mission of really allowing others to see what's possible by stepping into who you really are.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking to who you both are, whether you know this or not, you have both created a container in which I just had a real-time breakthrough.
What's that? Where's that? Where are you reading from?
Would you like to hear it?
Yeah. I'm sure everybody will
you?
hear it as well.
Yeah, me.
You personally? Oh, yeah.
Here listening to both of you.
All right, let's go.
So a lot of the conversations that we've been having, there's been a lot of vernacular use, a lot of different words used to describe, this is very, same power energy, that we're all speaking of. And I've heard Dell use words like heart space and many other things, infinite creatorhood, and lots of words. And then I heard the words that you were using today, Stephen, in terms of God, infinite creator, the creator of your higher is that right? Higher understanding?
Higher power of my understanding.
Higher power of your understanding. I think that's beautiful. It's beautiful how you've articulated that in a way that resonates with you. And, through the practices that I've gone through, I had actually been struggling with that a little bit, trying to just connect with what it is that I, really felt, that I could refer to that space as for myself. And many times, I say things and then they kind of like come back to me and like reach out to me and touch me, as I say it, and then I believe it. So I'm sitting here and I'm listening to both of you and I'm like, thinking about this space. I'm like, is there this, like geometric curvilinear space that we like actually, extrude from one person to the other? And I was like, that doesn't really resonate with me. But when we got onto this particular episode today, I immediately was in this space and I was like, I see and feel the magic in you. I see and feel the magic in you. And I was like, oh, that's my version. So I appreciate you both because I'm sitting here, we're asking you about your magic. And I was like, wow, I can really feel that in all of us. And that's my word. And I've been saying it forever, but I believe it today. So thank you for bringing that out, Stephen. And holding this container because that was.
Yeah, and you can give yourself some love for that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. that is so powerful. I'm so glad that you shared that. Wow. That really is a breakthrough.
Yeah. And you're just saying it to yourself. I see the magic in you.
Yeah, magic with a capital M.
For me, magic is an acronym as well. And that's interesting that the co-creation in that. For me, it's miracles and grace, or gratitude in co-creation.
Miracles and grace or gratitude in co-creation.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all really powerful words.
100%. So happy for this space. And oh my gosh, it's like that time where I want to make sure everyone knows where they can find you and reach you. And also, can you say where we can find Grace meetings again?
www.gracemeetings.as.me.
And that's with an S at the end? Grace meetings?
Grace meetings, yes, plural, yeah.
Okay.
And may I share briefly before we complete about 2 people?
Of course.
To support whoever is listening?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it resonates with you, if you might be in that space where you're feeling like alone in your thoughts, you might feel how I felt, just kind of suffering in silence, and you could really use some space to share what's going on without fear of being judged, and just a complete space of unconditional love. Email number 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
you want to say that out loud for us?
Yeah, the email?
Yeah,
jbdelacono@live.com. His name is Jim, and he's a magnificent human being who can hold space like that and really help. So email him for support, and you'll be thankful. Also, I'd love to share about this amazing being who commented. She was on here some time ago, Alicia. If she's doing something really amazing right now called donation-based intuitive coaching, which I just love so much because she comes from such a place of goodness and love and service, and she is awesome. And one of my favorite stories about her way of serving is someone had some pain happening in the body, and she was able to connect with them, cut to the root of it, and they got to discover that it's not physiological. It's not only physiological. It's actually, there's something deeper here. And she proposed some questions. The person was like, "How did you know that?" They worked it out, and the pain went away. It's like, that's like, to me, it's freaking that's magic.
Yeah.
So if that resonates with you, email Alicia. She is awesome. She is pure magic, and one of the greatest coaches I know. Hit her up.
Excellent. We've got it. Let me just make sure that it comes across the screen. We've got it in the comments as well. That's
there we go.
At aliciadunlevy.com. And the other one is jbdelacono@live.com.
Yeah. And while we're on that, or the subject of talking about Alicia, she's going to be posting something rather soon in our group about an upcoming coaching circle that she's actually about to start. So for those out there, and I worked with her one-on-one, the most profound coaching experience I ever had. Like, the information that she was able to share with me, and just the being able to integrate that, it allowed me, and I'm going to talk about it too in the grace meeting when I talk about the grieving. She allowed me to establish a deeper relationship with my father from the message that she gave me from the other side. So just think about that. That's just powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. She is awesome and powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the other email, his name is Jim, if I didn't make that clear.
All good. So
thank you so much for allowing me to share them.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
There we go.
That just shows just who the essence of how Steve is. He serves. And also he loves to have co-creations to happen and to be able to just share and help other people as well. It just shows you as well out there the abundance. He's sharing the abundance and he's going to receive the abundance out there. It's not like he's saying like, hey, there's work with me or work with this. He's like, hey, there's some other powerful people as well that can be able to help you. So like, want to acknowledge you for just being able to do that. That's something that a lot of people, they have that scarcity as it comes to like business wise, but you share the abundance because that energy of abundance is out there. It's infinite. And just want to acknowledge you and thank you for that.
Receiving that. Thank you. Yes, I am that I share the abundance. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm receiving that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing who you are with everyone who is watching. Thank you, everyone who is watching and interacting, for being here with us as well. Thank you, Dell, for being an amazing co-host.
Likewise. Thank you, Kai.
Oh, we got an applause in the audience.
Crowd goes wild.
The crowd is going wild. Thank you.
You guys are so great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. All right, everyone. Have a magical day and
stay magical.